the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
I am Anthony Sier, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Of course, this is the program On Point, hosted always here by Mr. Jerome Gilman, but this is more like a partisan kind of discussion. So he has taken a back seat to take questions, something he doesn't like. Welcome to the discussion. In today's edition of On Point, we are looking at post-rally analysis, the December 17 peaceful rally that was organized by Team Cummings and CPP ended yesterday. And we are here to do an analysis of that particular rally. So welcome, hit that share button. If you have just joining us, we want to say, of course, welcome and welcome again. Gentlemen, and a lady is in the house. We will get to that later. But let me welcome the man, Jerome Gilman, who is always the host here. Mr. Gilman, it's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you very much for, as you can see, I'm very relaxed. I'm comfortably seated in beautiful Miami, Florida. So I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's get this going. And by the way, congratulations to Argentina for winning the World Cup, and Mr. Messi. Hopefully he retires, but he still got some in him. We're looking forward to seeing him in the MSL.
It's always good to have you here. The one who might be playing defense today is the man Michael Palmer. His party was part of the parties in the collaborating political parties that organized this rally. And some people don't think it went well at all. So he might have some explanation to do here. It's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to the discussion.
All right, thank you. Also here seated is Jimmy Eastman. He's an independent. I don't know if he's a middleman politically, but he's an independent. Jimmy, it's good to have you.
Yes, Anthony, it's nice to be here to discuss the affairs of our nation. And I think it's always good to have somebody with a neutral opinion, somebody who will be as objective as possible, because some things have to be evaluated from a balanced point of view. So I'm glad to be a part of this discussion.
Thank you so very much. We have a lady in our midst here. Caroline is from the Liberian Nurses Association of Dallas-Fort Worth, an institution that is committed to helping and working with nurses in Liberia as they provide care for Liberians in Liberia. And this institution is having a fundraiser going on, and she will be here to talk about that very briefly. Caroline, it's good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You are so welcome, and we are happy that your institution is looking in that direction. We really need some work done in that area. We really need our nurses to keep working to provide care for us. So before we get to Caroline, what do we have for post-rally analysis? Number one, we are looking at the name, the purpose, the phases of the rally, the timing, and success criteria. Also, we'll be looking at pre-rally activities, publicity. Did they do good enough with publicity? We're talking about resource mobilization. Did they raise the necessary resources, or did they gather all the necessary resources? And of course, we'll be looking at their opponents' efforts. Some people were not on board. Some people predicted doom for them. Did that happen? We will be looking at that. Also, what is the thing about T-shirts in Liberia and banners in their political activities and the execution of the rally by itself? How did they do? We want to look at it. And we will also be looking at the rally's outcomes, lessons learned and what next for Team Cummings and the CPP. So, folks, that is the lineup for this post-debate, not post-debate, but post-rally analysis here at Focus on Liberia. But before we get to our discussion, we want to hear from Caroline, who is here on a very, very good humanitarian mission here. Caroline, we want to say we can't welcome you enough. It's good to have you. You are from the the Liberian Nurses Association of Dallas Fort Worth. It's good to have you again. So talk to me quickly, yeah, because of time. What is it that you are working on right now in Liberia?
So good evening, everyone. Good evening, Focus on Liberia. It is good to be here with you guys. I just want to do a little disclaimer. I'm not on here to discuss post-rally with these wonderful guys, strong politicians here, but I'm just here on an assignment to advocate for my nurses in Liberia and for the healthcare workers at large. So again, thanks for the opportunity. I am here this evening. Like Mr. Ansu rightfully said, I'm here to represent the Liberian Nurses Association here in the Dallas Fort Worth. We started back in 2014. If some of you that are listening don't know that, and this was in the heat of the Ebola. And since then, we've been doing lots of work, wonderful work in Liberia to see what best we can do to impact the healthcare system. If I would say the healthcare infrastructure, the healthcare facilities and policies making and stuff in Liberia. We've gone on many years we've done many years of mission work. At this time last year, I was actually in Lima County in the village working with a clinic. So I feel a little bit homesick right now because I was in Liberia during the holiday season last year, giving back to my country. And that's the desire and the goal that is in my heart and the heart of this organization. So I know the time is short, but my mission here today is to speak to the heart of Liberians on behalf of our nurses in Liberia. And it's not just the nurses, but since I'm a nurse, I'm just going to stay in that capacity to just advocate for my nurses in Liberia and to see what we can do during this holiday season to put a smile on their faces in as little as purchasing a bag of rice, a gallon of oil, and to just be a blessing to them during this holiday season. As you all know, many of them probably have not taken pay and probably will not take pay until next year. And even if they do take pay, they probably have borrow money from neighbor or a friend because they have not taken pay for so many months. So they probably don't have nothing to give to their children as a holiday gift. So the little that we can do as an organization is to tell you we don't have the whole world to give you. We don't have much to give, but yes, a bag of rice. Yes, a gallon of oil, at least so you can have food to eat during this holiday season. And we'll go from there. The organization has a bigger vision, a bigger goal for the people of Liberia. So I will stop there for now, and I would like to, discuss a little further if you have the time, some of the issues affecting the healthcare system in Liberia and what we can do as Liberians in the diaspora to lend a helping hand to them.
Thank you, Caroline. And again, to reinforce what you just said, the Liberian Nurses Association of Dallas Fort Worth reached out to Focus on Liberia. We think this is a good humanitarian initiative on their part, and they asked us to use our platform to get a word out to Liberians who follow Focus on Liberia. And in our capacity as an institution, we want to encourage those who follow us and believe in what we do to chip in. Our nurses need all of us just as we need them. If they are to be there for our people in Liberia, we have to be there for them in our own ways. So the Liberian Nurses Association of Dallas Fort Worth is raising some money. They're not asking for too much. Their goal here is that they are fundraising to give a little gifts to the nurses during the holiday season, so that they can be sure that their family have food, and then they can be at the hospitals to provide care to our brothers and sisters who actually need it. Colin told them their targeted number of nurses they want to reach out to, since they don't have all the money, is at least 60 nurses, like Caroline said earlier, so that they can give them, a little bag of red oil and something else, so that again they can have smile on their faces, and they're not asking for anything much. Their target here in terms of money is $1,500. So we have 83 people watching right now. If everybody can just chip in, they should be able to get close to their goal. Now, if your question is how do you contribute, here we go. You can contribute via Zelle and Cash App, and the number is right on the screen: 972-890-6684. Also, they have a website. You can also contribute via their website. That website is www.lnadfw.org. Again, is www.lnadfw.org, and I will post that website link in the Facebook live feed below. Again, this is the website. The Liberian Nurses Association of Dallas Fort Worth website is www.lnadfw. When you do that, you go on our website, you will be able to see them, and you can also contribute through the website in addition to the Cash App and WhatsApp number. And the number and the website will be posted on the live feed below for you to be able to access this easily. So, Caroline, I think all is said. Your final words to Liberians listening.
All right. Again, thanks, Focus on Liberia, for answering the call. Like I tell people, most time is not the money that you give, but it just people do contribution in many ways, and this is how you guys on Focus on Liberia have decided to contribute. But right now, let me just tell you plain English: we need money to help our nurses during this season. Okay, so Focus on Liberia, we are grateful to you for bringing us on here to get this word out. For all of you guys that are watching us, I just want you to know our nurses play a key role in the health of the nation. Please, we shouldn't neglect them. They have families, they have lives, and I want to say this: that this profession is a very rewarding profession. And let's just do whatever we can to give them a helping hand in their field, so they can be able to render the care that is so needed for our nation. So again, I don't want to go into the politics part of it. Like I said from the beginning, everything about our life is politics. We, the nurses here in the U.S., we go on strike. We go to our lawmakers, we go to Washington for us to be able to practice as nurse practitioners independently. So everything about this field is all in the hands of the government, and what we can do for us to have that resources to work. So I just want you guys to please, maybe on another day, I will come on here to talk mostly about some of the things that is affecting the profession in Liberia, and what we can, do to talk to our government to give our nurses the resources that they need to practice and to deliver quality care to our people. Again, the health of the nation depends on the competency of our nurses. If they are happy, trust me, the nurse will come to work and give the best care. So this season, let's give something to them. And again, thank you all for those of you that will be contributing to this. We will do the distribution on Thursday in Liberia. We are hoping to bless 60 nurses in Liberia. We cannot do everybody, so this is our target. But depending on how much we raise, we will, include increase the number. So again, thank you so much for helping us. And those of you that are sending your cash app, I just saw something from someone. I will get back to you. Our organization is a 501c3 organization. Is recognized in the state of Texas. It is recognized in the United States. So anything you contribute, we will send you a letter at the end of the year. This is the end of the year. Anything you contribute, we will send you a letter, and you can claim that on your income tax by next year. So God bless you all. Thank you for listening. Happy nurses to happy holiday to all the nurses in Liberia and in the diaspora.
Thank you, Caroline, and thank you. And with that, we will take a short break. When we come back, we will be going into the post-rally analysis. That's the politics you like. A short break, and we will be
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
And I am Anthony Sear, and welcome again to the discussion. We are here with the post-rally analysis. I can see my man Michael Palmore is smiling. It seems to be he's prepared. I hope he is. The man who is from the CDC, he said he's relaxed. Jimmy has nothing to fear. He's neutral. He's independent. And I'm here. I think I'm going to be on my A game by asking all the necessary questions. But folks, before we can get into it, Focus on Liberia. Did it work as a media institution in covering the event? The man Theo Williams is our reporter on the ground. Theo was there. He was the first reporter to be on the ground, and he saw everything firsthand. We will be going to Monrovia to hear from Theo Williams. Theo, can you hear me there?
Well, I can hear you crystal clear, Anselin.
All right, Theo, it's good that you are joining us quickly here. You covered the rally at the ATS. Walk us through here as quickly as you can. What did you see?
Well, thank you very kindly. Anselin, it's a pleasure joining you guys tonight from Monrovia. I'd like to say good evening to the unapologetic Mr. Jerome Gimen. Good evening to Mr. Jimin Eastman and Mr. Patmo, and you as well, Anselin. It feels good, like I said, joining you from the nation's capital, Monrovia. Well, on yesterday, as you may know, was the day for the much publicized Retire Suffering rally organized by the collaborating political parties. And yesterday morning, we managed to make our way there as early as 8 o'clock, just to capture all of the happenings, just to be on top of the game and to adequately inform our viewers. And so as we got down yesterday, not many persons we saw as early as 8 o'clock up to 11 o'clock moving forward. But the program or the rally was characterized by speeches, presentations, performances of groups and artists. And in his introductory statement, the lead organizer of the rally, Honorable Louis Brown, re-echoed the peaceful nature of the rally. And in attendance was scores of individuals, to name a few. Ambassador Toga Gewe McIntosh was at the rally. Mr. Musa Hassan Belete of the Liberty Party was also at the rally. Former Bomi County Senator Sandra Dazo Johnson was also at the rally. Mind you, Sandra Johnson is from the All Liberian Party of Mr. Bernard Wefayuri. And then we had in attendance as well Mr. John Balut, former Senator of Maryland County, District 10 Representative Yeka Koluba, Mr. Cummins and his wife were at the rally as well. Then the lead campaigner, Louis Brown was also in attendance. Nima County District 8 Representative Larry Yonkwe, Mariah Yekola, who is the special assistant to Mr. Cummins, was also in attendance. Aloysius Stu, Councillor Lafayette Gu, and the rest of the guys from the ANC, CPP as well were in attendance. Moving forward,
and Tio, if I may hold you there, did the organizer communicate when the rally was to start officially?
Yes, the organizers did that. That was made through the PA system at the SKD Sports Complex. While we're screaming live, we heard the announcement coming from the PA system stating that the rally would have started 2 p.m. Liberian time, and the rally started exactly that time. And so Mr. Cummins of the ANC thanked Liberians for turning out. And
Tio, before you continue, did the leaders of CPP and other leaders who have involved, were they all there and on time? Were they all there on time?
Well, like I told you, Asuna was there as early as 8 o'clock, and all of the guys from the CPP and out of the ANC arrived later on in the afternoon. In fact, Mr. Cummins came with a huge crowd, along with Yeke Koluba, who came later on. And I mean, they came their own time. You know, they came in bit by bit, but the official rally started at 2 o'clock Liberian time. Mr. Cummins, Mr. Louis Brown, Ambassador Toga Gilway McIntosh, and Musa Bility, Sandra Johnson, and other people marched from the Iya David Junction towards the Samarkand Sports Complex. As they came, after a few minutes, the rally began at 2 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Tio. I will give my colleagues here an opportunity for them to each ask a question or two. But before that, there was this impression that the rally would have been attended massively. At least that was the expectation. You were there, and I'm sure you might have had similar expectation given the publicity and all that. Did the attendance meet the expectation that you were looking for, you know, given the nature of the rally?
You said it right, Austin, given a huge publicity for almost a week by the organizers. I was thinking that the rally ground would have been fully or jam-packed to capacity. But to our surprise, we did not see the crowd as anticipated, given the huge publicity and all like that. You know, few persons turned out, or schools of supporters, if I put it that way, turned out to grace the rally. But we did not see that crowd we expected, given the high level of publicity. I mean, 1 week publicity, engaging the media or channeling their call through the media for 1 whole week. I did not see that crowd yesterday, and I was asking myself why.
Thank you. I will now give the opportunity to Jimmy first, and he is the neutral man here. Jimmy, any question for our reporter there in Liberia, Tio Williams?
Yes, thank you for that coverage. I mean, my first question is, on average, how many people do you think were there, to give us an idea? 100, 500? And the second question to that is, did you see the market women represented? Did you see the taxi drivers represented? What kind of people did you see representing the Liberian people at the rally?
Well, thank you very kindly. Let me begin with your last question. Like I told you, we had some organizations who attended the rally. The United People's Party were in full representation. The Cross-Border Women of Liberia were also represented. Disenchanted Seditions as well were also represented. Grassroots Pastors Network were in attendance, followed by former guys of the CDC, among other institutions. To your first question, the number of people who turned out yesterday, in my own opinion, or from what I observed throughout the entire rally, they were not in their numbers. Honestly, if I were to estimate, I would say to you tonight that probably there were 1,000 plus.
All right.
Okay, about 1,000 people.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, so in other words, they didn't spread across the street. They were mainly contained within the SKD confines.
Of course, in fact, there was still more spaces just on the outside of the SKD. So imagine if they were allowed to use the main stadium, the stadium capacity. There were still more spaces on the outside of the stadium. Still more spaces on the outside of the stadium, even up to 1, 2, 3 o'clock.
And did we see, did the police protect the people? Was there no incidences of any violence or anything?
Well, in terms of security, the guys were well on calls on yesterday. The joint security were at their best and making sure to maintain law and order, making sure the rally went on peaceful, as planned by the organizers. And so everything was well coordinated from the security standpoint. You had checkpoints, you had some detour. The main route from the ELB junction to the Roberts International Airport was not really used. Vehicles coming from town had to take the detour that is moving by way of AB Toll Road or SD Cooper Road, sorry, and getting on the main route to the RIA. Vehicles coming from Painesville and other parts were using AB Tower Road and other areas in Painesville. And so there was a free flow of traffic. The police were on top of the game, and the entire operation went on as planned. But at the end of the rally, we got this news that the police managed to arrest the bodyguard of Mr. Cummings, who was carrying a firearm. And that news broke on yesterday evening. Immediately, we tried to follow it up. Yes, the police were on top of the game again. And they issued a statement on it yesterday. And they said in that statement that they are currently investigating the security guard who had a firearm. And so from this morning up to present, we've not gotten the outcome of the investigation by the Liberia National Police, so I can't go further on that. But I can confirm to you that a security guard from Mr. Cummings was arrested with firearm yesterday by the LMP.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Jaron Gemen, your 2 questions for Theo Williams.
Mr. Williams, I know you had, I saw...
You need some Saccomorant juice. Your voice is gone.
Yeah, that's what happened when you're too relaxed. I saw the Liberia National Police on the outside giving water and food, and somebody said, ask the police director, did the CPP or Cummings give the money for food? And the police director said, no, this is on our own accord. Do you have anything about the police passing out water or giving out food and stuff of that nature?
Well, I did not notice that on yesterday. What I noticed was that there was some group of women who had some snacks, water. In fact, they were women who, I'm sure they were nurses or so, who were controlling the ambulance at the grounds of the Samarkand Sports Complex on yesterday. There were water sacks all over the place, and they had some food for people to eat and all like that. But I did not notice the Liberia National Police giving out water and food to those who turned out to rally or for the rally. I did not.
And Theo, before I can break Pablo 8, because this is something that has not been
If that
confirm.
happens, there wouldn't be screens because once upon a time, if you can recall, the soup protests, the police were seen giving the guys water, giving protesters water and some snacks at some point in time during their protests. So if that happened on yesterday, it wouldn't be that strange to me. But I did not notice that while I was at the complex.
And Theo, I want you to do further investigation on that because that's one of the things that is, making headlines. And so we want to be sure we are certain because one possibility might be, like you said, the nurses were there and they had snacks and water. It could be that they have called the police to help them do the distribution because we want to be sure if that the Liberian National Police actually did distribute those items as being said in some quarters. We just want to be sure. Just something for you to follow up. Mr. Pamo, your opportunity for your 2 questions.
I don't have any questions for Theo. I just want to thank him for doing his due diligence during the rally, for covering it, and for providing us with factual information moving forward. So kudos to you, Chief. Thank you so much.
All right, Theo. Mr. Pamo does not have a question for you. Final words from you, and so we can take leave of you.
From what Mr. Cummins said on yesterday, there were several speakers. Mr. Cummins, Mr. Belike, Yeka Koluba, and others spoke on yesterday at the rally. But Mr. Cummins made some promises of commitment to the Liberian people that I'd like to highlight here at the moment before I just wrap up. Mr. Cummins promised to restore good governance on his watch as head of state of Liberia. He promised the rule of law. He promised economic growth and prosperity. He promised job creation, caring for the disabled. The women of Liberia, he described them as the foundation of Liberia. According to Mr. Cummins, he wants to see a Liberia free of corruption. So those are things he promised. He also re-emphasized that Liberians are tired of suffering. He talked about the mismanagement, in his words, of the country's resources. He talked about Liberians are tired of not being able to pay their children's school fees or fend for themselves. He outlined some steps within the health sector. He outlined some losses, if I'll put it that way, in the health sector. He also talked about Liberians tired of not being, fed by themselves. Mr. Cummins also talked about making President Weah a one-term president, something he has said repeatedly. And Mr. Cummins, at the rally on yesterday, greeted the Liberian chief executive. He said President Weah's code F as his grade since he took over the matter of authority to lead Liberia. And so there were several other speakers, just to highlight a few more. Representative Yeka Koluba called on members of the opposition to unite. According to him, if the opposition must achieve their goal, they have to unite. He stressed the need for togetherness amongst opposition political parties. He also expressed lack of confidence in the Minister of Justice, Councillor Musa Din. And Koluba concluded by saying the opposition will no longer be afraid of the government, adding that if the government throw rocks, the opposition in return will throw rocks. If the government fire gun, the opposition will fire gun. He was emphatic in saying that on yesterday. That was something I captured. And he's on record. He's on record for saying that.
And Theo, I don't want to leave you without this. The organizers gave us the impression was that the focus of the rally would have been on the Liberian people who are actually suffering. But we heard from other observers saying that it became more like a partisan kind of rally, looking at teachers carrying the pictures of Mr. Cummins. did it rather turn out to be more partisan, heavily ANC as compared to what was actually intended to throw the focus on the suffering and the conditions of the Liberian people? What did you observe?
Well, I think it turned out to be heavily ANC, Anthony, because all of the T-shirts I saw yesterday carried a picture of Mr. Cummings, most of them, and we spoke to a few persons before we even came on live, and while we're also live, we spoke to one or two persons who also mentioned, a female who mentioned that she was not forming part of the rally because she feels that it was not in the interest of people, and she's stressed that Liberians cannot come to rally and wearing the T-shirt of Mr. Cummings. And in her words, it was like publicizing Cummings or making him more popular. So based on those counts, she did not form part of the rally. She just came to observe and she left later on. But on the overall, those who wore T-shirts, what was on the T-shirt was the picture of Mr. Cummings.
Thank you so very much. Theo Williams is focused on Liberia reporter based in Monrovia, Liberia, and he is our team lead on the ground as well. Theo, thanks, and thanks again for the excellent reporting.
Well, thank you, Anthony. Quickly, let me just question this one. One of those speakers at the rally yesterday was the chairman of the Liberty Party, Mr. Musa Hassan Belete. Belete turned Mr. Cummings as the new alternative for Liberia. According to him, Liberians have 10 months to decide the kind of country they want, to also decide the kind of legislature they want. They also have 10 months to choose between good and bad. And all of those who spoke captured two things. They accused some members of the opposition, in particularly Mr. Belete, who mounted the podium at some point in time. Belete accused some members of the opposition of being silent, even though they claim to preach the message of change. Honorable Coliver also did similar. When he mounted the podium, the first thing he said was for members of the opposition to come together to form a united front. And so they proudly referring to those opposition political leaders who thought not to form part of the rally for reasons best known to them. I'd just like to mention that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Good reporting there. With that said, we will take leave for Theo and we will come to the panel here to do the analysis, given the fact that we have gotten first-hand reporting from Focus on Liberia reporter Theo Williams on the ground, who cover it all from the start to the end. Gentlemen, back to you here. Let me start with you, Mr. Patmore. You listening to Theo Williams. They're reporting all that he saw. He answers our questions. What is your impression? You think the account given is reflective of what actually happened?
I mean, it's an individual's point of view. I think he covers some of it. I think some things were not, I won't say inaccurate, let's just say some things were not covered fully. And that's okay, that's expected. It's just one person. He couldn't have been everywhere at the same time. But he did do his best to cover a lot of it, especially who were present, to cover the points of Mr. Cummings, which was in Declare and Chairman Belete and a few other speakers. So yeah, so you have to give him heads up for what he did, indeed.
Okay. And Mr. Gilman, your reaction to our reporters reporting that quickly.
Well, I want to first of all thank Focus on Liberia. I know, like I always say, it is not easy running an institution as this, as huge as it is. You have about maybe 20 to 30 programs running at the same time, and then running a segment in Liberia to give the Liberian a holistic view of what's happening. Kudos to you, and you were lucky to have had one of the most experienced and well-educated folks on the ground in field. We all need to support the idea. Like I keep saying to Mr. Patmore, all of my partners here, and everybody that listens to this program, at the end of the year, we have the Cash App there. Please make a contribution to this organization so they can keep the lights on. Michael Patmore and I are here for only 2 hours once a week. These people are here 24/7. And you think our job is hard, just imagine what they do. So we do not want to be freeloader. There's no other way I can put it. When you turn your TV on, they are here. You go to sleep, you wake up, they are here. They have to keep the lights on. So let us do the best we can to send something, whatever it is, $5 a month, $10 a month, we do. But Mr. Sid, I want to say thank you. And based on what I just heard, I think Michael Patmore and I will agree, and you will agree, we have to do all we can that we have a very strong opposition party in Liberia. We do not want to go back to those days where there's one dominant political party. And then when that leader leaves, the political party dies, and then a new one comes. We want these institutions to be built. So what I've seen Mr. Cummings is trying to do, as much as I support the president, I think it would behoove the president and CDC to make sure that we have a strong opposition that will actually be an institution to help keep our feet to the fire. But from what I'm hearing, the splinter and the character that are involved is what troubling me. You have a very clean man like Cummings and Patmore and all of that, and then you have other charlatans that came along and hijacked the situation. This is where our fear is.
All right. With that said, folks, if you are just joining us, we want to say welcome to our program On Point, and we are doing a post-rally analysis of the more publicized We Are Tired Suffering rally held by the CPP on the 17th of December 2022, and that was yesterday. Let's start the analysis here, gentlemen. Let's talk about the name, the purpose, the phases of the rally, the timing and success criteria. And on that, I will start with Jerome here quickly. Mr. Gaiman, was the name appropriate for the rally We Are Tired Suffering? And also, I want to know, was the purpose of this rally strong enough, or was it weak, or was it just flat? Talk to me.
Well, as a man who worked in marketing for United Way for 10 years, you always want a name that is catchy and flashy, and I think We Are Tired was an excellent idea. Okay. Where it fell flat is where in marketing we call bait and switch. Where you put up something else and then you give them something else. You give them We Are Tired coming, then they come, and then you give them T-shirts, and you coordinating Cummings. This is where I think the problem is when we talk about credibility and accountability. This is very key. When you say we are tired, we want to talk to our government. We want the folks to come and explain their plight so the government can address that. People were coming to have to come to the microphone and tell the president, listen, my wife is in the hospital. We just had a baby. We can't leave because the hospital said, well, you can't pay, you don't leave. Those kinds of things that would make the president, because the president is in a cocoon. There are people who are whispering in the president here what he wants to hear. This would have been a perfect time for ordinary people to go on the stage and speak directly to the president and say, President, this is what's happening. But instead, they switched it to a coronation for Cummings, and I think that was bad.
And Mr. Palmer, similar question: was there a need at that particular point in time for any such rally? In other words, and then also the main question there: was the need appropriate? Jerome, who is an opposition, is saying yes. It was catching enough. So I want to get your take there. And was the purpose strong? Was it weak or was it flat? Quickly.
I believe that not only was there a need, I believe there is still a need.
Okay.
Even after this rally, there is still a need for that. Was the name appropriate? Yeah, it was appropriate. I mean, people. I mean, people come out 2, 3, 4 different names. It's fine. Then the name was appropriate. I think. I don't believe it fell flat. I don't believe so. I believe this rally was attacked from the beginning, and I think at some point those attacks, kind of realized how things went. So that's my strong belief, right there.
Okay, and Mr. Gibbon, let me start and continue with Pamo. Yeah, Mr. Pamo, were the leaders and faces of the We Are Tired Suffering rally, representative of the tired, suffering, and hungry people of Liberia.
All right, so I think let's not mix two things up. When you say the leaders and the faces, because I will tell you right now, the faces of this rally were the tired, suffering people of Liberia. It has always been the tired, suffering people of Liberia. I think there was somewhere in there where people with ulterior motives tried to push other people as if they were the faces and if they were the leaders of this rally. Okay? Where we come from, in a village, you get a town crier. The town crier never really speaks his own belief. His job is to announce what he is told to announce. And the town crier is never the face. Nobody ever hold him blame. He's the town crier. And somewhere in there, people with ulterior motives try to make the town crier the face of the rally or the leader of the rally. And people believe them. And all that became mixed up in the conversation. And it took away from who were the true faces of the rally, which were the suffering people of Liberia. And that was one of the misfortunes of this rally, that other people they try to cling on to those things instead of remaining focused on who the true faces of the rally were and what was the intention of the rally.
And the success criteria, before I can get to your partner here, was the success criteria achieved in your opinion?
Yes. The rally was successful. You see, the thing about rally, I mean, you'll hear a lot of things from people, Some people come and say, oh, well, I expect 50,000 people. Or somebody will come and say, look, I expect 100,000 people. Okay? That's their expectation. Our expectation is for Liberians who are tired of suffering to come out and represent. And Liberians came out and represented. With all the things that were going on, with all of the negatives that were thrown at it, some people still felt strong enough that their circumstances were dire enough that they would come out, and they came out. And because of that, we believe it was very successful.
And if you can be as quick as you can, what was that criteria that you said was actually accomplished here?
That people who are truly tired of suffering will come out. Whether that were one person, or that were 10 people, or that were 1,000 people, that those who were truly, truly tired of suffering, they will come out. And go ahead.
And Pamo, given that, in my judgment here, the number of people who attended more like fell short of what was expected, will you say the timing contributed to it? Will you say maybe not much publicity was done? Will you say the leaders did not, plan better and they didn't execute better? Will you say that contributed to it?
Look, there's always space for improvement. So I can nitpick many things. I say, well, I think we had on Saturday. Saturday, that the market people, big day. Most market people, the money they make on Saturday, if you have Monday to Friday, Saturday they can make more than those 5 days joined together. You could say that. You could say, well, we had it in Pinsville. So the people from Douala and Brewerville and other places, how were they going to? There's so many things you can nitpick, on that. You can also talk about, for example, there were people in the media that spoke against this. You know, there were people in civil society that spoke, that discouraged this. The senator for Grand Creek County, Milton T.J. King, held a press conference and started talking about 1979 race riot and how many people died, and calling on people to stay home. Scare tactics was placed in that. A gun was found on somebody in the beginning of the rally. The night before the rally, the day before the rally, money went missing. That was questionable. Look, there was so many things just from every angle that was coming at this rally. That, you know what? For the amount of people that showed up, we think with everything put together, it was a success.
And if anything we can agree on, then I'll go to Mr. Gilman here, is that one of the criteria was that this rally will be peaceful.
Yes.
And it was peaceful.
It was peaceful.
And I think as a people, we should celebrate that, because
absolutely
peaceful rally should be something that we all encourage. Mr. Gilman, you want to be as strong as you can here. We're talking about the faces and the leaders of this rally and the people they were representing that they call to participate in the rally. My question is, did the planners give themselves enough time? Was the timing of the rally right? Was the location right, or the location had nothing to do with it at all?
Well, like what we say, when you are doing, I'm used to doing annual event. So annual event is usually done. You want to surround the success of your event with personality that can vouch for your message. For instance, if I'm doing a rally for the nurses, okay, like the young lady just did here for nurses, she rallying, she's doing some fundraising for nurses. You cannot take undertaker, a guy who work in the graveyard, or a prisoner to come here and say, we got nurses in Liberia, let's do some fundraising for nurses. It doesn't work that way. Now, when you say people are suffering, and the pictures that were coming out of there, this guy they call, I think, Sheikh Kouyaté, and you're talking about Mr. Brown, and they shared the woe. They are so fat, and the shirt looks so bad that you could not just put those pictures and say these people are suffering.
Is that a yardstick to tell that somebody is not suffering? Some people, I mean, it's biology.
But listen to this. My job is to do propaganda, to pose, to say, listen, look at suffering people in Ethiopia, they're skinny, they look at these guys. And second, the character of the people that were doing this. If Mr. Cummings has taken Mr. Padmore and other folks and say, my folks, these people are tired, let provide a platform.
Will you not have said the same thing about Padmore?
No, I wouldn't have said it. I would have argued the point, the issue, because he always argued issues. But when you bring somebody who worked for the government that was just fired 6 months ago, never said anything about this government, Brown never said anything against this government until he was just fired. Then you look at Gillian McIntosh, same thing. Then you bring Samuel Johnson, same thing. All the names we are hearing here, they are people who are disgruntled. So it was easy. And then what made it worse is that it shows that Mr. Cummings does not have the leadership to bring people together. Because now, those of us that are craving for a strong opposition, I cannot believe now that Cummings can work with Waka, Waka can work with Cummings, Cummings cannot work with Gongo, Gongo can, because his egos have got into the way this thing turned out to be a coronation of heat. And
Mr. Gilman, if I may here quickly, your colleague here said the rally was successful based on the success criteria set. So you are suggesting here that it was not successful. Maybe the only thing you agree with, it was peaceful, right? Yeah. So if you are saying it was not successful in terms of attendance, what were you looking for in addition to attendance that did not happen, for which you are more like, this did not cut it at all? What were you looking for?
Well, let's go to the record. Mr. Brown says he filled out the application at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, SKD. On the application form, they ask, how many folks are you expecting? He says, we are bringing out minimum 100,000 people. So let's agree that Mr. Brown said he was bringing 100,000 people.
Are you strong with that number?
Yes, that's what he said. That's
go
what
ahead.
Mr. Brown said. He said 100,000.
Okay.
So the question was, well, the SKD Stadium sits about maybe 40, 50,000 people. You are bringing 100,000 people. Most likely, this is not a facility, but because of policy, they allow it. So if you call for 100,000,
are you not spinning this? Are you not spinning this?
No, I'm not spinning. I'm talking about what Mr. Brown said in his own press releases. So here we are, 1,000 or 100,000. What is that? 10%? Is that what it is? 10%? Those of you who do math. If you're looking for 100,000,
because the reason I'm asking the question, bear with me here, Mr. Gilman. The reason I'm asking the question, hold on. It was communicated that from the government side that the stallion, according to Zoga Wason, they could not grant the stallion to the group because it was not appropriate at the time to do. There was something going on under FIFA, and they should not be giving the stadium out to anybody. That's what your government communicated. But you are telling us something otherwise. That Mr. Louis Brown said was 100,000 people they were expecting.
Yes, he said 100,000, and I'm saying if the capacity there was even 150,000, 100,000, they could have denied him based on that, because nowhere on our ground you can put 100,000. So if you want 100,000 and you get 1,000, you got 1%. So if Mr. Cummings if he has 7% in the election, and he can only pull out in the entire Montserrado 1%, he is regressing. So it's a failure, massive failure on his part.
I think you are spinning this. So let me come back at you here. Your party, CDC, had organized its own rally at the ATS, and they were calling for 1 million man rally.
Yes.
Now, using your own yardstick here, is it possible for 100 million people to assemble at the ATS when they got approved by your government?
Oh, no. You're getting it wrong. You spinning
How
here.
come I'm getting it wrong?
We are calling for a strong 1 million nationwide march. That would be the combination of all 15 counties. The ATS is where we are going to meet, the executive and the Monroe folks going to meet, but we are going to have a 1 million march in Montserrado, in Bassa, in Magibi, in Nimba, and all other places. That's what we are talking. 15 the geo sub-region of the massive, mighty CDC. We are going to bring out 1 million strong nationwide from Kawikan all the way to my hometown, Bewing in District Number 3C, District Number 3B, District Number 3A in Grand Bassa County. So yeah, ATS, we expect about 20 to 30,000 people at the ATS, but 1 million all nationwide.
Thank you. Let me bring Pablo in. I don't think he's happy with that. He can't swallow it. Pablo, quickly.
Look, man, we're all listening to the CDC chairman here. The CDC chairman said they're going to bring 1 million people on December 20th. 1 million people on December 20th.
On Monrovia.
Yes, of Monrovia. He ain't talking about no other country. He said Monrovia will bring 1 million people. And, there's not the first time CDC have brought 1 million people out or claimed to bring 1 million people out, But when people do the math, and how many people can fit in CDC compound there? When they're ready to say they're bringing 1 million, and then when we look, we see 2,000-3,000. When we do our own aggregate, that's less than 1%, but that's okay. But let's be clear here, okay? How can supporters of the government tell us that we failed? So I want to ask the supporters of the government, how many people did they expect to show up? How many people did the government expect to show up that they are telling us that we failed? That's the real question I want them to know. I want to find out.
I can answer that one easy. You said 100,000. We believe you 100,000. That's why we have a joint security.
We are having a march,
gentlemen.
We are having a rally with tire suffering. The government said they expect 100,000 tire suffering people to come. You're supposed to be celebrating that in the whole country that only 1,000 people suffering. That's your success. But you're looking at 1,000 people. You yourself, the government themselves, are confirming that none of the people are suffering there, because the government knows there are many, many more people in Montserrat suffering. They are acknowledging that.
All right, gentlemen, let me progress here quickly. Let's come to the pre-rally activities, looking at publicity specifically, resources, mobilization, and detractors' effort of opponents' efforts. And Mr. Pablo, for that, I'm going to start with you. Did the planners do a good job with publicity? Resource mobilization. Hold on here, because we just listened to Focus on Liberia reporter. He said it was one whole week of publicity done. So the question here is, was that good enough for what we were told would have been a massive turnout? Was 1 week publicity enough? Did they do a good job with resource mobilization? Or was it that their detractors, or were they deflected by their competitors here?
I believe much more could have been done.
Okay.
I believe much more could have been done. I believe on a grassroots level, I believe much more could have been done and should have been done. Yes, there were.
So that 1 week publicity was not enough.
No. It was not. It was not. This should have been probably a 30-day publicity. Not a 1 week publicity.
And you think they were taking advantage of the president's absence? President Weah has gone out of the country. I think by then it was like 36 days or so. And so they saw a vacuum, and they felt that, well, that would have brought anger to the masses. And so that would have been like a catalyst for them to come out. But then you are saying they didn't do enough job with the publicity. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, I believe there's a lot of space. There was a lot of space for improvement. I believe that you can work. Look, a comfortable time would have been 30 days. Okay, but you're working along many things. The president ordered the country. People are complaining. The rice price, the gas price, Christmas coming. You're not gonna call rally in the middle of Christmas, because you know what I mean. That's too much diversion. So they work with what they had. They work with the time frame they had. I still feel within that time frame, there's much that could have been done to improve the turnout. I'm hoping that the organizers learn from this. I'm hoping that they make adjustments, because there will be many more gatherings between now and October.
All right. Mr. Goodman, let me come to you. We are still talking about the publicity 1 week. And they did this while the president of Liberia was out of the country. One would think that was a good timing there, because it was obvious many Liberians were not happy with the president's absence. And yet, the collaborating political parties, that is not a single political party, could not even put up 3,000, 5,000. You can't put this on the organizers and the CPP, right? Because at least they did what they wanted to do. It was more like maybe the people did not come out. Why are you looking at as, the main reason for the poor attendance here?
Listen, the Liberian people have spoken. For the past month or so, I've been listening to them. They say, our people will come out. We are coming out. The people have overwhelmingly rejected Cummings, rejected the CPP. It is that simple. There's no way around it. We don't want you. You don't have the leadership skills. You are not an alternative to King George. That's what it is. Look at what they put into it. The day before, on the podium, they said we got 25 buses at different stops in every geographical area, subdivision, all 17 districts in Montserrat. If you need a ride, we will pick you up. You need this, we'll pick you up, drop you off, drop you home. There will be food, there will be water. So they did a whole week. The last week, they beefed it up, including Mr. Cummings himself around the street and all over the place with a bullhorn, 100,000 t-shirts and all of that. So yeah, they did do the PR, and you saw on social media since last month they've been talking about it. The president is not even in the country, and they couldn't draw 1,500 folks. The Liberian people have spoken loud and clear. These people are not ready. They will never be ready, and the Liberian people don't want them. It's that simple. There's no way around it.
And Mr. Goodman, to follow up here, your government that you support was not happy with their rally from the get-go. they have characterized it, and you heard Milton Tiaye, who we know is supporting the president and the CDC, bringing back the old story of of the past, how it led to violence. So, and the day everything, and in fact, during the day, your party that has canceled its rally, organized its peace rally in Logan Town and Negro Town area just to detract the people, to confuse the people. It was like you people did everything to undermine the rally, and then on the other side, some members of the opposition, went against the rally. Why don't you think those things also impacted the turnout?
Well, but this is what we call political calculation. It's not my job to help the opposition. It's my job to do as much as I can to keep the attention of my people. If I had the resources, I would be having football, basketball tournament in New Town, Point Four, Clara Town, everything else. If these people were strong enough, these people who have gravitated towards them, but because they are not who they say they are, hey, the people stay home. And this is and watch tomorrow when the president comes to town, just his entrance, it would be like the Almighty entering Jerusalem. You will see people with palm torches calling Hosanna, Hosanna, returning to the great city of Monrovia. President Weah is coming tomorrow, and you're going to see the difference. And we're not even organizing, just telling the folk, go and meet your leader, and you're going to see the difference. People are overwhelmingly rejected Mr. Cummings and the ANC. There is no, after this, I don't see anywhere else they will go. I don't see what else they can do.
So Jerome, if you are calling the rejection because of the attendance was not masses as was expected, will you say President Weah was rejected at the time? You had a program at SKD and it was like virtually empty. Can you be fair now to say, well, poor attendance means rejection? Because that's the equation you're giving us here.
Well, what was the occasion of the July 26th celebration? Right?
Whatever it was, it was not attended.
July 26th celebration. Yes, right. The people didn't feel comfortable about it at the time, so they didn't come. That's what it is. Same thing here.
So will you consider that as a rejection of President Weah then?
No, not rejection.
So there is a rejection and yours is not rejection because yours is on July 26th.
We said July 26th. We didn't say George Weah. We didn't say this man said Cummings.
You are deflecting. You are deflecting.
It's on every T-shirt.
You are spinning.
No, it's on every T-shirt. It said Cummings. We keep here for rally. We keep.
There were T-shirts with President Weah picture. You had your blue and red bearer. They were all in your
I'm T-shirt. I always have this. It was not the president. I always have this. As you can see, I got my stuff.
All right. Let me come to Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer, let's do this. In politics, in any competition for that matter, right, you will have competitors. You cannot blame your competitors if you don't succeed. In fact, you should credit your competitors because the challenges they are putting to you should give you reason to strategize more, perform better. So you can say, well, the protests were undermined by Unity Party or other parties. Somebody said others in the media who might not be supporting your guy. If you have done a much better job, the people who have come up, because we all agree the need was, perfectly placed for the people. The people are actually suffering, and yet they did not come out. And many of your friends are blaming your competitors. I don't think your competitors are to be blamed here. Don't you think so?
Well, you see, that's why you notice that when I was listing people, I never listed the government.
Okay.
I talk about the media, I talk about the opposition, I talk about civil society, and I talk about scare tactics that were put out there when people started talking about April 14, 1979. I didn't mention the government. That's what we expect the government to do. The government is going to come after the opposition and try to derail things. That's what we expected. So I didn't mention anything about the stadium being denied, and then listing all the reasons why the stadium was denied, and then guess what happened in the end? They gave us the stadium. I didn't mention anything about that. I didn't mention anything about, all this other talk with the Liberian National Police feeding the people. I didn't mention any of those things because I understand. But, when you are in opposition and the Liberian people are begging the opposition to come together and to unite and to hand President Weah a first round exit and then you see members of the very opposition coming against you, you know, somebody within the opposition, not from my party, they're in the CPP, but they're not from my party. The person said to me in a very passionate way, Mike, if UP goes for second round, how can I support them? I felt that person, and I had no answer for them at the time. I just told them, calm down, don't let your emotions get the best of you, everything will be okay. But that is where I'm coming from. You know, that is the point of view I'm coming from. The Liberian people are suffering. Nobody can deny that. There is no opposition leader right now that can tell you the Liberian people are not suffering. But when it was time to come out and support the suffering Liberians, they decided to stand back. You know, the government did what they usually do, which is fine. And they will always put spin on stuff. That's fine.
And Michael, if I may follow up quickly here, did the massive then let the organizers down here, or they definitely share a zero blame here for the poor attendance of the rally? Because what I'm getting from you, well, more could have been done, but they did what they could have done within a space of time that they had, except that the masses did not really come out. So are you blaming the masses, or should they share no blame at all in this whole thing?
Look, no, I don't blame the masses. I don't blame the masses. Look, we should have done a better job.
But Michael, they heard it, right? They could have come out. They are suffering, right?
Yes. But still.
So what more you needed you and your leaders to accept to them for them to come out to something they actually have been feeling, for which you say they share no blame?
Well, yeah, I can't blame the masses. Look, I spoke to several people.
You want to be politically correct here, Michael?
No.
Because it is about their lives. They are the one feeling the pinch. Cummings is not suffering. Louis Branch is not suffering.
Yes.
All right. But they are telling you, we know this is your condition. Come and speak for yourself this time. And they didn't show up. And you say you're not blaming them?
No, you can't blame the victims. You cannot blame the victims. Look, these people are the victims of a corrupt government. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to somebody that I helped provide financial support to. You know, these are the people I lean on and say, look, you know you're struggling. You need to get out. Nobody will cry or cry for you. You have to cry your own cry. You know, and the person told me, Mike, I really won't go by scare. I'm in America. That person is experiencing real fear. What did we do as an organization to help encourage those people and help build confidence in them that everything was going to be okay? I think there we could have done a better job. I think the issue of, you know, all this other propaganda that came, I think it didn't help the situation. I think we could have done a better job. The other thing we could have done a really good job on is the grassroots, okay, with the community chairmen. We could have done a better job with the community chairman turnout. And I don't believe we took advantage of that. So we can't blame the victims. Even if, you know, if a victim has been victimized and they are full with fear, you can't blame them. You want them to overcome that fear, but if they can't at that time, you have to support them. You have to find other means to help them over that fear. You can't blame them.
And Michael, if I may here, you are saying the masses are the victims.
Yes.
Who victimizing them right now?
The CDC government. The CDC government is victimizing the masses right now.
If the CDC government is victimizing them, and the organizers, the CPP is saying, hey, come and speak to your victimizers here, why would they not come out?
Some other fear. I told you just now, I gave you a clear example. There was a lady. There was a lady, and she told me, she said, Mike, I can't leave my children to the house. I'm fearful to go over there. Something happened, who will take care of my children? It was a real fear.
Thank you.
And
I think Michael might have a point here. Fear is realistic. Some people use it, you know, as, you know, a security measure. When you don't feel strong, brave, stay home, because something can happen. There is a history now of CDC going after people because they have some express support for other people who are not present and we are on the CDC. Mr. Gibbon, fear was a factor here. These people are really hungry, and you know it. You are helping people in Liberia. So for them to not have come out must have been fear also. Don't you think so?
No, let me read something here real quick. Give me 1 minute here. This is from an independent person who I usually argue with. His name is Undo Adigibi. Adigibi is a very good friend, very analytical. He wrote this. He says ANC represents the biggest threat intellectually to the ruling party. But I do not see or how the ANC get to a second round. I still do not see the ANC reaching the second round. Joseph M. Boakai cannot beat George Manuel Weah by himself. George Weah is guaranteed to go for the second round. So now you figure this out. This is a man who is an independent thinker who is saying the folks on the ground do not have anything in common with the ANC. When you go on the social media and talk to them and see how they write, they are not, they are, we call them the 1% of Liberian society. I heard my brother say they are having problem with grassrooters. That's exactly what we've been saying. You are the ego, you are up there. And we are the badgers, we are down here. If you want to come and get something, you have to come down here and get it. The ANC cannot get in the trenches in West Point, Claratown, Point 4, Sonny Wing, and beat us there. This is where their problem is. So Mr. Adigibi is right. Adigibi is right here. Even though intellectually on paper you look like a threat to us, but you are actually not. He cannot see you get into a second round with the CDC because you have to pass JMB, and JMB is in your way, and we prefer JMB. So here we are, my friend. Nobody sees you realistically as getting to a second round with the CDC, and he made it clear JMB alone cannot beat CDC, and JMB made it clear. He said no one political party can beat George Weah. I'm quoting him directly.
Let's talk about the morale, unity. There's this saying that there is strength in unity. Tim Cummings, we know it now that Mr. Louis Brown is the chairman. And then you have the CPP, from what I understand or we know, is headed by Musa Belete as its chairman. Musa stood by Cummings like no other during the political trials, as some people call it. And here is Tim Cummings that is more like the face of this rally that's organized. Musa was not seen, as we normally see him until the eve of the rally. With that, I ask this question, gentlemen. Did Tim Cummings CPP leadership dissatisfaction weaken any possible unified efforts that was needed for the success of this rally? That's A. B, to that, talking about morale. The stealing of the 70,000 United States dollars. Folks, this speaks clearly to the CPP Tim Cummings leadership craft. Will you say this actually put them in the category of being jokers? I mean, how could they have not put into place a mechanism to avoid this kind of embarrassment that may have contributed to weakening the morale here? Padmo, we'll start with you on that one because this one is in your lap.
All right. So it was a long-winded question. So
yes.
All right. So I will try to get as much as possible.
Yeah. So the first one is ANC, Tim Cummings and CPP under Musa Belete leadership. There's some kind of dissatisfaction going on there. Did that help to weaken the morale? And then the issue of the money, quickly.
Well, no, I don't. When it comes to the part one, whether there's any friction, did it help to weaken the morale? No, it did not. This is not our first event. Okay, we have numerous events going on all the time, and I'm not just talking about a rally or a protest. Okay, I'm talking about going out into the different communities, going out of town to different villages. There's not our first event, okay? There's always going to be, look, when you have a lot of egos in the room, there's always going to be little bite-biting. The next thing is that we know our people. We're all Liberians here. We know our people. Everybody won't be chief. Everybody won't be boss. Everybody won't sit down over everything. And people are slowly getting used to, you can't do that all the time. Okay? If somebody else has certain tasks, that person will do their task and you will do your task. It's as simple as that. Did it ruin the morale? No, it did not. Because in the end, all those people showed up for the rally. So it did not ruin the morale. The next thing is concerning the money. The money was a distraction. It was. A day or two before the rally, that amount of money getting missing, the time frame that the money got missing wasn't enough for it to be fully investigated, so that it just kind of hung out there. It was not okay for the rally. It did in some way detract the rallies. Look, I'll be honest here. Mr. Cummings has two major things that attract him to the people. Mr. Cummings has two things that have everybody talking about him. Yes, Mr. Kemenya might say that, Mr. Cummings is irrelevant, he has been rejected, he not going anywhere, there is no path to the presidency. Look, the fact of the matter, Billy, Mr. Cummings is the most attacked, he is the most talked about opposition leader in Liberia, period. That's it. I can't remember the last time when we talked about Joseph Boyka, before I sit here one conclude. Nobody talks about those people.
And you think people, because he's strong, that's why people are talking about him more, or is he just weak?
Who talks about a weak man? Who talks about a weak man? Nobody talks about a weak man. Nobody talks about Benin Ayure. Nobody talks about whoever the standard bearer is for any other party. Nobody talks about those people.
It could be they're talking about him more because he's making a lot of mistakes and not strategic enough. Don't you think so? Or maybe people expected better. People expected better from him, and he's not giving that. That's why I got people talking. Don't you think so?
That's what I'm coming to. Thank you. You have laid the boulevard. That's what I'm coming to. People have hope in Alexander Cummings. And because they have hope in him, they have put him on a pedestal and they expect much from him. Okay? If you remember when United Party went to Lofa for the senatorial election, $110,000 got missing. Poll watchers were never paid. Nobody blinked an eye because people expect those things. When George Weah, when money goes missing in ledges, nobody blinks an eye. They expect those things. When $70,000 is questioned in Alexander Cummings or missed in ANC, the whole country is amazed. That is what attracts Alexander Cummings to the people. Okay? His corporate knowledge and his integrity. And because this happened so close to the rally that it could not be investigated and it hung out there, it left a bad feeling in some people's stomach. I will admit to that. But I can also tell you this. And I can promise you this. That money that got missing, that money will be investigated fully. The corporate will be brought to justice, and it will be made visible for all to see. All to see. That I can promise you.
So in short, before I get to Mr. Gilman here, there will be accountability, and that we will hear from Mr. Cummings. We will give complete and honest account of what happened, who are responsible, and the accountability thereof. Are we going to hear from your leader?
Yes. You will hear from the leader of the CPP. You will hear a full story of what happened. You will also get full accountability. And this gentleman, no matter where he is hiding, will be brought to justice. We will not stop. It is not about the money. It's about such behavior. We have to start somewhere, and we'll start right in CPP.
I just hope this will not be one of those logical conclusions we always yet about and then nothing else.
I promise you.
All right. Mr. Goodman, you are a Bassa man. You hear a lot of things. Musa Ability is in Liberty Party. Liberty Party started from Grand Bassa County. That is the angle I'm coming from. So I'm sure you being a Bassa man, being a politically savvy guy, you do hear a lot of things. The question I asked Pamela was, Musa Ability was virtually absent during the planning stages of the whole thing. And on the 11th, he shows up, and now we have what others are thinking was more like a failure in terms of attendance. And Cummings also setting this standard for himself, for which, some people have been giving him attention. Are we having a Darius DeLon scenario here with Mr. Cummings? You remember the guy who came to light, and then I changed my mind, and I lied on plane ticket because he has sent the stand up, but then he was just collecting all these checks. Mr. Cummings came, you can't be doing the same thing over and over. He has been using the word stealing. Throughout Liberian policy, they will say, oh, embezzle, corrupt, but he said, no, the word is stealing. Now stealing is going on in his house. And people are talking about it. Do they have reasons and rights here to do so? And should we demand accountability from Cummings? Is he coming clean here?
Mr. Cummings is not ready for prime time. Mr. Cummings is not ready for accountability. I was shocked when Mr. Cummings took the stage and said, the reason stealing going on and they stole our money is because President Weah is stealing and they are following their leaders. This is a man who is saying he wants to run our country. First of all, when we're talking about accountability in this country, Mr. Shea, if you went to the bank to withdraw $10,000, you have to have all kinds of paper. Now, this man is saying $70,000 US plus a budget of $350,000 for the event. Where do you take that kind of money, put it in the back of a car, give it to a driver to go and pay people on the streets? But not only that he's a failure, but look at the letter that he wrote the Justice Minister, and I'm just going to read one line. He said here, we have launched an internal investigation.
Mr. Goodman, before you continue, my understanding is that communication is fake. So maybe you should disregard. Is that the one signed by Martin Kula?
Yes, Martin Kula.
Okay. In one of their press conferences, they announced to the Liberian public that was fake. So disregard.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, but listen to this. If this is fake, exactly what they say here, that's what he just said. They are going to do the investigation and somebody is going to be accountable. It's exactly the same thing here. So what I'm saying here in the first place is when you are putting together a team, you need people that are credible, people who have integrity. When you take $70,000 and you look at the Secretary General, the Financial Secretary General of the CPP, Mr. Fubi Henry. Fubi Henry said he denounced and had no knowledge, and that money did not come through to the process of the CPP financial system. This is Fubi Henry, a gentleman that we found to be credible, hardworking, and a politician, and a very close confidant of Mr. Cummings. On the other hand, you found Muna Fahad. She said it, money lost my foot. She is saying that these people, Mr. Cummings cannot come here and say this. So you are talking about all of those folks. So when you're talking about people are getting mad and upset, here, yes. When you talk about the original people like Muna Fahad and Mo Ali and Dylan,
Mr. Gilman, let me give you some rare meat here for you to chew because I know you are ready for the ANC here. Martin Kula, he is the Secretary General of Liberty Party.
That's correct.
I understand that he is the head of the rally. They say he's the head of the rally, according to Louis Brown. He's the chairman for that particular rally. All right. And he was the one seen in possession, or we were reported was in possession of this money. He even said, confirmed that. Why not? I mean, you run an institution. At what point does it become necessary and legal for somebody who is not a financial person to be responsible for expending, this huge amount of money? I just want to get your take. You think it was right? Could they have been handled properly? Was he the right authority to hold the money at that time?
The question that we all want to ask is, what was the channel used to withdraw such a huge amount of money? Was it from a bank? Do we have a banking system that we can trace that our money is legal? Is that money illegal? Is it money that is it drug money? Is it gangster money? Is it how do you get that kind of money? Can Mr. Cummings, that is talking about accountability and leadership in Coca-Cola, can he come here, focus on Liberia, and face you, the political bulldog, and ask you that this is how the money was deposited, this is when the money was withdrawn, and this is our channel of disbursement, this is our chain of command, how money are disbursed? Mr. Cummings cannot do that. I don't think Mr. Padmore can do that either. This tells you the incompetence of this man. This man has been sold, okay, as the best since sliced bread, and we're finding out bit by bit that he's none of the above. I ran the United Way, my section, for 10 years, just like he ran Coca-Cola. They have a system so put together that it's almost impossible to fail. I cannot go now and tell that I was the best in the United Way because I did X, Y, Z. That's not how it works. It's showing now that Mr. Cummings is incompetent. He's not ready for the presidency. I don't think he's ready. He cannot do anything else outside of government. He's never worked government, has no experience, and these boys, they took him to the cleanup.
So just as you are prepared to say Mr. Cummings is incompetent, because under his watch, they had this embarrassment and shameful act allegedly committed by the driver and the linking Martin Kula to it. Can you say the same thing about President Weah? I know we done discussing here for what happened at Legis, for what happened to Map Up, for what happened at Ministry of Health, and everywhere, LPRC. Are you prepared to say that, or because you have your side, your job is to make your side shine? Let the fufu with soup on it. Talk to me. Are you prepared to do that?
The president have always told you that running the country is not an easy job. We have agencies upon agencies, and there may be errors here and there. He's running one political, not even a party, or one political party, and he cannot manage $70,000. Just imagine our $1 billion, $800 million that we are managing here, and it's just a shame. I'm embarrassed to actually to hear that from Padmore.
Mr. Gilman, you are deflecting. You agree. You have said on this platform to have Ned Boss stay on the job. You take serious exception to that. President Weah appointed her. She stayed on the job despite the indictment. You also spoke about the Minister of Agriculture who's been indicted and stay on the job. President Weah has that authority. You are not even saying to President Weah he's incompetent for his appointees, performing in this manner. And now you are prepared to say that about Cummings. I appreciate, that you are brave to say that, but you can't say that about your guy. How does that make you to look? Honest guy?
The president is a competent person. He made it clear. He said these people were indicted. We have to go through the process of law. So these people were turned over to the proper channel, and they went to court.
But that's the same thing Banker is saying. There will be investigation. In fact, investigation is going on. Well, and you're not waiting for that. You are indicting Cummings as being incompetent.
Then what's new? If you were coming here because I was doing the same thing, now you come here and do it. Then your model is you can't.
There's a difference.
You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. That's what Mr. Cummings is doing. So this is why the people say, you know what? We will keep the devil we have, than the angel we have never seen. They have never seen who this man is. That's why they didn't show up yesterday. And kudos to the Fort watch the president come tomorrow, entering this Jerusalem. They were here.
Hosanna, Mr. Palmore. Yes, Mr. Palmore, let's get your rebuttal there, please.
Look, yeah will be the clear definition.
Mm-hmm.
About the same time, several years ago, the chief of staff to Mr. Cummings, wrote a book. Okay?
Mhm.
And that book has certain information in it that Mr. Cummings felt did not reflect well on his person, on his office. And so he demanded the resignation of that author. Quick, done. This is who Mr. Cummings is. And I am telling you today that this investigation, wherever it takes us, no matter how high that person is, once this investigation is done, whoever the corporate is that stole whatever amount of money, because we don't even know how much money was there, how much money was stolen. Nobody has come to that information yet. It's just a bunch of rumors out there. Whether it was stolen in a car, in somebody's office, who handled the money, we are investigating. And I promise you this again, that once that corporate is identified and they are arrested, they will face the full weight of the... That is the difference between Mr. Cummings and President Weah. That is why today, he has promised us that McGill, Traore, and Cephas were going to be investigated. Today, there hasn't been even a panel put together. This money got missing on Thursday morning or Wednesday night, and an investigation is already going on. This is the difference. This is the difference between one man that will talk and not do anything, and another man that will stand on his integrity, on his record, and will take action. No matter where the investigation takes us, that person will definitely face the full weight of the law. That I promise you.
And Padmo, I hope the other investigation will not have to see Sherry Black coming out.
No, let me tell you something. The only time that we might, and we hope not to, we are hoping and praying that the Liberia National Police and the Ministry of Justice will work with us to make sure that once this person is identified, that a warrant is issued for the arrest, that things are put in place. I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example. After the 2017 elections, okay, there was a vehicle that was stolen from the ANC. The driver took it, drove it across the border, sold it. We did not relent. It took us almost a year and a half. But guess what happened? When the money finished, he came back. He snuck into the country. We were alerted. We alerted the police. The police were able to go and arrest him. He went to court. He was found guilty. He went to jail. And he served time. This is Mr. Cummings. He could have let it go and say, no, the election finished. Let's just let it stay. No. But he wanted to set an example. That is how Mr. Cummings is. And he don't brag about it. There's not something he goes about bragging about. But that's who he is. And I promise you, the person that stole this money, whether it's the driver, the head, the bottom, whoever that person is, they will be brought to justice. It's not about the amount. It's about the act and the behavior. We have to start somewhere, my people. Corruption is eating our country alive. We have to start somewhere. And nowhere else better to start than with ECPP. That's where we'll start.
All right. We hope we will watch. Gentlemen, times is fast spent here. Let's get to something that is also important, which is the whole idea of t-shirts. And the question here, we're going to start with Mr. Goodman. I don't know whether you are the right person to speak to this. I mean, I'm just answering my questions here. Was it actually necessary to print t-shirts with pictures of Mr. Cummings on some of them when the rally was actually intended for the Liberian people? And then Mr. Cummings was the guy who face and picture was on a t-shirt that was intended to symbolize the suffering of the Liberian people. One would think that, well, is this the man that is suffering? Now, the good thing is, on their banner, they had a lady who is crying with the Liberian flag, and then they went and conflicted the whole thing and put Mr. Cummings' picture on the... So what does it say about planning an organization and being a message here. Mr. Gilman, no red meat for you. You must be happy today.
Well, listen, that's why I say I'm so relaxed. And sometimes, because the thing here is, it says a whole lot about credibility and integrity. Mr. Cummings has none. This is what we call in the marketing industry bait and switch. All the PR, they had this woman with her hand on there crying, tears coming, and everybody, oh, that was a great symbol. And then when the people show up, they give them t-shirt with Cummings' face on it. That bait and switch. If Mr. Cummings had an iota of credibility and integrity, he would have said, ladies and gentlemen, please do not do this. This is not all. It's not about me. Mr. Cummings who has sold himself without selling himself. People who have said, listen, man, when you came to our event here, you will see on our banners sponsors. Mr. Cummings could use this to say, I sponsor this rally. Let the Liberian people speak. And he could have his banner all over the place, and people will say, thank you for sponsoring this event. That's honesty. That's integrity. But you can't wait when the people come to watch, the people came to watch Bruce Lee. Then when they get in, you say, well, we're not showing Bruce Lee today, we're showing Sinbad. You know, Mr. Patmo family have theater, so I'd like to make the theater thing, the movie. You can't come here and say, I can't see Bruce Lee, then you come here and they give you Sinbad, the magic water, or the magic. This man has no integrity. Mr. Cummings has no integrity. Let Mr. Cummings show us how he got that $70,000. Where did he withdraw that $70,000? Did it come through the bank?
Are you suggesting that that's his money, or he dished that money out for the program?
Well, according to Mr. Louis Brown, that was Mr. Cummings' money. That's what he said. So
and before I get to part mode here, Mr. Gilman, let me give you something here. Is the messaging as well, the speeches, the statements that were made by those they invited to speak. Some of them, stay on message, but it was strange to me that, Mr. Cummings, the next president of the Republic of Liberia, I'm like, what are these people doing? I mean, they did not plan better. They didn't speak to these people they invited to speak. So predominantly was about Mr. Cummings being the next president. It was not merely on the Liberian people suffering. It was about making president. We had a one-term president. I thought their whole team was focused on the people and the challenges that they're facing, but then it was dominated by Cummings' candidacy and being president of Liberia. Was that a bad strategy here?
Well, you saw the president, Dr. Weah, when he spoke in Washington, D.C., he put his hand on his chest and said, ladies and gentlemen, without peace, there's nothing possible. Not even
citizens were there with T-shirts too, so I'm not sure you are on point on this.
He said, without peace, when you see somebody out of this peaceful rally, and another person stand on the stage and say, when they shoot, we will shoot. When they throw stool, we will throw stool. When they kill somebody, we'll kill somebody. That is not. I expected Mr. Cummings to get up and tap Mr. Colobar on his shoulder and say, this was advertised as a non-violent, peaceful rally. We do not want to talk about. He said, I was in the battlefield. I am a fighter. I fought the war. This man knows nothing about fighting war. I know how to fight war. It is shoot, we will shoot. I expected Mr. Cummings to tap him on the shoulder and say, this is not the venue. This is not the event for that. We are a peace-loving folk. This is a peaceful rally. So yes, you are right. They were off message. This tell you they have no organizational skills. And this is, if you can't run this little organization like this, forget about the country will fall apart.
I agree with you. They were contradictory here there, but let me hear you also on this one before I get to Patmo. The town hall that was organized in Washington, D.C. was met for all Liberians. And we saw citizens there, and we saw the president throwing red meat to his bed and attacking his opponents after he spoke well at the summit, and talking about Liberian diaspora, to be part and involved in that. And then he came there, he started throwing, jabs, and he never took questions from the Liberian people. It's like he ran away from them. So the whole issue of T-shirt and not staying on message is not only with Mr. Cummings and his team. Your party is as guilty as anyone else, isn't it?
Oh, no, the president was on message, as you can see.
Oh, come on, spin doctor.
Dr. We are walking there, saw the folks. In fact, it was a cross section of Liberians in the diaspora. They were not only sedition, and they were so mesmerized they couldn't even ask the man question. I mean, he said, "I got to go," and that was it. Because I mean, there were no questions to be asked. The gentleman spoke very well. The folks admire him. He told them about peace, and I was shocked. I mean, listen, we had people. In fact, outside they had one guy was protesting. Here we are. So listen, it is just the president way of he's a human magnet. When he's in the room, you hardly hear people say some of these things.
Thank you. I think you deflected on that one, Mr. Palmo. Quickly here, we have to go. We have another show that is coming on. Let us speak to something here quickly. My final question here, will be on, let's look at going forward now, right? If you can chime in on that question if you want within your time to. Did anything come out of this rally? We want to know. All that happened, what lessons can Mr. Cummings, his team, and the CPP learn, and what next? Let's conclude on that as quickly as we can.
Sure. All right. So of course, yes. The outcome of the rally, the way it was organized, the way it was carried out, will definitely be studied in depth. Mm-hmm. As you all know, right now we're doing what Americans like to call Monday morning quarterbacking. Mm-hmm. We are looking backwards. And one thing people have to understand: T-shirts were not handed out on the day of the protest. There were stations where people were encouraged to take T-shirts to. People bought their own T-shirts and took it places, and it was printed on it. It wasn't like people just show up, they say, "Hey, here comes T-shirt, go wear it." No. People bought their own T-shirts and carried it to several designated places in the 17 districts where it was printed on. Okay? The second thing is that people who were invited to the rally were encouraged to bring their own T-shirts as well. Looking back on it, maybe they should have come up with just one Unisom T-shirt with the lady on it and going with that one. Might have been better. Looking back now, I think that would have been better. Okay? But it's one of those things you learn from and you move forward. The second thing is the time space of the publicity, the organization, and the process of the organization. We heard many organizations say, "Hey, you guys, y'all told us late. You guys, we wish you guys had brought us to the table earlier." We're learning from all those things. Like I said, this will be one in a series of gatherings before October. And we definitely plan on learning from this, improving upon this, and moving forward, making it better.
Thank you. And Mr. Gilman, your closing, Lawson Land, what can Team Cummings, the CPP, do given the way team went, and how can they do it better if they are to have any chance here? I know you've written them off already, but you are not God. Go ahead.
Well, to be honest with you, there's nothing they can do. Mr. Cummings been running since 2016. He had not learned in the past 7 years. There's a parable in the Basel vernacular. It says, "The baboon that will be shot never hears the hunters whistling when he's coming." Same thing here. A man who is going to lose cannot see these things that the Chinese men call, what we call cut by like paper cuts by 1,000 shots. That's what's happening here. Cut. They may have made so many errors. It is impossible for him to convince anybody in West Point, in Nukutown, in Sodinwin, to say, "I am with you, I am your leader." It's too late. Mr. Cummings need to find someone to tag along, and good luck.
Well, folks, because of time, we apologize. We will leave it right there. I wish we had more time to continue. It was a great discussion. We wanted to bring you in with your comments and calls, but we have another program that is coming on in few seconds here. Is our program that we call here Hello Pastor. Hello Pastor will be coming on immediately after the show. They want to know, is God involved into our affairs, politics, governance, sports, entertainment, business, economics, everything that we do. Is God involved? Does God have a side? Does God have a say? Or he has given all our 5 senses to decide? That program is coming up immediately after the show. With that said, folks, this is how we will come to the end of yet another edition of our program, On Point. I'm Anthony C.A. Our moderator here, Jerome Gilman. Thank you. Thanks to Jimmy Eastman. We also want to say a big thanks to Theo Williams, who gave an excellent report at the beginning. Mr. Padmo from the ANC, we want to thank you. And Mr. Gilman, please put that Sacomoran cup away. That your CDC juice is not helping you because you were off point. Maka, I would say you were a little more on point. You admitted where you needed to admit that your boys, your team could do better. But the CDC, man, you were just spinning. And so, folks, this is how we will close it with the song that says, we are all Liberians. Until we catch you again, have a nice evening and bye-bye.
We are